Trying to clear my throat before I do this presentation. All right, so we are about to begin. Welcome to GERCAM Monthly Virtual Interactive Conference. I'm your host, Emmanuel Barbie. Please hit that like button, share, and subscribe to my YouTube page. Ladies and gentlemen, before I go into my presentation, let me explain to my listeners why we hold these monthly virtual interactive conferences in the first place. We do this in order to recruit our listeners to become GERCAM members and also to raise funds for our film project, quote, Hood Liberator, made in Chicago, the war against Willie Lynch begins, unquote. This film project is my last attempt to try to do something positive for my racial group, Black Americans who identify themselves as DAS FM, descendants of American slaves / freedmen. Shout out to Sister Renee, who have been working with me behind the scenes for the past 14 years. If I only had more people like her, we could really get things moving much faster. I'm just saying, ladies and gentlemen. We host our monthly virtual interactive conference on the last Saturday of the month in order to interact with our listeners and to raise funds for our film project. We're using 3 crowdfunding sites: GoFundMe, Buy Me a Coffee, and PayPal Giving Fund. So I recommend that people that's, I would say, here in the United States would use the PayPal Giving Fund because um, if you are a U.S. citizen, you can use the PayPal Giving Fund as a tax write off because this is a legitimate 501c3 nonprofit faith based community advocacy organization. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, I'm ashamed to say this, but I have to keep it authentic and real. For 16 years, I've been paying out of pocket for this um, business title. Technically, I am wasting money, but I believe our Black youth, especially our inner city Black youth, they deserve better. And this is my way of just trying to do something positive and constructive for them. God knows I want to move this business from behind the computer into a brick and mortar or having a physical building. But right now, since I ain't making money from my book sales and I'm not making much money from my virtual store, this is where I'm at. It is what it is. So, um, once we raise $250,000, because that's the lowest I'm going. I prefer 500,000, but I'm saying this is the least I can go. 250,000. Then we will encourage those who are seasoned filmmakers that I'm trying to network with to come to Chicago and for them to host auditions for roles in this film. And so that also so that we can create um, a quality Black empowerment film, ladies and gentlemen. Once I finish my presentation, then I would turn over the broadcast to my panelists, which is called Side B. So some of my panelists is telling me that they're having problems, with their internet services. That's fine and dandy. If I have to hold it down myself, hey, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? But we're gonna do this. Got a lot of material I want to cover, and basically, I want to talk about a lot of things that took place in the month of April. The biggest is, the the court case with Julius Malema being found guilty and to serve a 5 years prison sentence. And so I'm definitely gonna want to touch on that. You know, um, so after my panelists share their perspective, then we will drop a StreamYard link in the chat room to give everybody an opportunity to come on this platform to ask me a direct is open for Q&A, so you can ask me direct questions. Anybody that want to debate me with anything as it pertains to the topics that we discussed this month, bring it on. Bring it on. But that's what we're gonna do. The purpose, again, the grassroots community activist movement is dedicated to empowering and improving the quality of life for Black Americans in Chicago and beyond through health, education, business, youth services, and cultural initiatives. Our monthly virtual interactive conference is meant to encourage our listeners worldwide. We're trying to recruit brave and smart um, Black Americans beyond Chicago because I can't find them here in Chicago. I hate to say it, it is what it is. 34 years, I'm still on first base, and that's unacceptable, ladies and gentlemen. Unacceptable. Also, trying to recruit brave and smart, like minded African immigrants across the United States of America from 10 African nations in order to help speed up this process. Because I don't want to be doing this another 34 years. I'm asking my listeners to please help get my ebook on that bestsellers list so that way I would be in a better position financially to hire Black people, African people, and others. You know, I mean, that's the whole purpose of me going into business so I can hire people. And so I'm selling a book. I don't sell dope. You know what I'm saying? I'm a college graduate. And so I know how to create nonprofits and how to create for profit businesses. However, I lack two things: the manpower and the capital. So that's how come I wrote my story. That's how come I created my virtual store in order to generate capital. Um, so I call upon everyone on my Facebook page, my Instagram page, my TikTok page, my LinkedIn page, and my X page. I need you all to stand up, please. Uh, Read my ebook first. My ebook is, quote, The Solution for Black America, Reclaiming, Rebuilding, and Restoring the Urban Ghettos in America, second edition. It's available in two forms. It's available as an ebook for $9.99. It's also available as a softcover book for $15 plus shipping and handling. I provide the link in the comment section below this audio podcast. Um, so So America is about to start World War III, ladies and gentlemen. You know, with Iran and stuff. I even predicted that in my revised book. Um, I forgot the exact page, but maybe next time, when I do my maybe in May, I'll tell you exact page because right now I'm just letting you know, and I don't have my book in front of me, so. But yeah, I predicted that America was going to start a war with Iran, and that would kick off World War III. So just hope that doesn't happen. But hey, it is what it is. So my fellow Black Americans, at this stage in the game, you only have two choices: either embrace annihilation or embrace survival. I'm only responsible for CAM members and their immediate family members. I call upon people that's in my Christian groups on Facebook, Light of the World Inspirational Group, and Christian Spoken Word Network. I need you all to please stand up. Don't just be in my groups just to be seen, because your time with me is coming to an end. And those that, just in there just to be seen, don't, leave any comments, don't share my videos, don't interact with me. I mean, I'm going to treat you the same way. That's all I'm saying. I'm going to be ghost on my end. I'm going to ignore you and just going to just leave you alone. Your time is almost up. I call upon Black millennials and Generation Z to please read my story for yourself. If you agree with my vision and plan to help improve Black America, specifically Black Chicago, then you will automatically become a GRCAM member. After all, this business is for your generation, trying to build something for you all. You know what I'm saying? I can't run this whole, me and Sister Renee cannot run this business by ourselves. We can't do everything. And that's how come I'm online. This is how come I created this platform to interact with people. I would say locally, nationally, as well as internationally. I call upon like-minded African immigrants across the United States from 10 African nations. They are as follows: South Africa, Kenya, Ethiopia, Tanzania, Uganda, Angola, Liberia, Ivory Coast, Ghana, and Nigeria. I understand that y'all came over here in America to live out your American dreams, and that's fine and dandy. But I need your help. Truth be told, I am unable to connect with my fellow Black Americans due to this slave mentality. A majority of Black Americans that I run across in real life and as well as online, many of them have become Americanized and have developed a narcissist type of attitude. They care less about the Black community, let alone about the Black youth. And also they have taken on the colonizers' ways. So, and those are the kind of people we can't build with those type of people. It is what it is. Others have become holier than thou. I try to talk to the ones in the church, and they basically no earthly good. They're too holy to. I leave them alone. For 34 years, Black Chicagoans have rejected and overlooked my vision and plan to help improve our low-income Black community or low-income Black neighborhoods. But mark my words, once I'm able to get my, I would say, GRCAM members, once we're able to really connect and put my ideas into action, we're going to make a real positive impact in the low-income Black community. Mark my words, everybody in Chicago is going to want to be a part of us. But that's not going to, ain't nothing changing on my end. Those that have rejected me, my vision and plan when I reached out to them for the past 34 years would not be part of my business. This is membership base. And I'm going to run my Christian business the way I run my home, drama free. And again, the reason why you all talking about African immigrants are able to reach your American dream is because of my ancestors who fought and died during the civil rights era to help African immigrants, Afro-Caribbeans, and other non-white immigrant groups to come to this country, because truth be told, the white supremacist financial elites only wanted white European immigrants here. Do the research. Call upon the global African family who reside in Canada, Europe, the Caribbeans, across the African continent. If you're serious about me bringing my Christian business to the African continent, then please purchase my ebook and help me get it on that bestsellers list. That's all I'm asking you to do. And put me on blast. Share this audio podcast with all your friends. Just put it out there. Put me on blast. And most of all, leave a comment in the comment section below this um, audio podcast on my YouTube page. Leave comments. If you're not able to participate this time in April, then make arrangements with me to come on this platform in May or any other time before the end of the year. Just come on here, especially if you're I would say an artist or entrepreneur, because I want to share, the limelight. I want to share this platform. It's not about me just sitting up here trying to sell a book. Small-minded individuals say that stuff, but like I say, I don't want to. We ain't gonna fool with those type of people. That's why we're gonna vet everybody. I want to make sure that people that become GRCAM members, that you're gonna benefit, that you and your family members are gonna be well taken care of. That's all I can say. Don't have to be treated like what I've been going through. I mean, I'm looked down upon because I got a good idea, but the idea is not being used. But I call upon Black content creators and African content creators who have a large audience to allow me to come on your platform so that way I can promote my revised book and my film project to your listeners. Me get this will help put me on blast to get the ball rolling. What the film is about and the schedule. This docudrama is about my life experience growing up in a dysfunctional household and being neglected by my extended family members. I use my pain to want more for my racial group. This is why I am so passionate about connecting with other like minded Black people and like minded African people so that together we can build something for our own people to enjoy. However, I've been getting a lot of pushback, not from white America, but from Black America, again, because of this slave mentality within Black society. In my business, we will declare war on this slave mentality once and for all. This will be the most important film since Roots. Our plan is to complete a pre production, post production, and prepare, quote, Hood Liberator Made in Chicago, The War Against Willie Lynch Begins, unquote, for release. Here's a rough timeline of our project. Pre production requires funding. Production requires funding. Pre production requires funding. Release targeting near the end of 2026 or 2027 with your support. We can ensure a timely and impactful release that aligns with this significant film project. What is the budget? $250,000 in order for us to make a quality Black empowerment film. We have carefully considered the budget to ensure that every dollar will be used wisely and efficiently. Our budget breakdown includes expenses for production equipment and crew. Post production includes editing, sound design, and visual effects, licensing and archive footage, marketing and promotion, distribution, and premiere events. Your contribution will be instrumental in covering these costs and bringing, quote, Hood Liberator, Made in Chicago, The War Against Willie Lynch Begins, unquote, to a global audience. What do I Why do I care so much about this project? I'm deeply passionate about this project because our story has the power to influence our Black youth. This project matters because it's not just about preserving a legacy of a new Black movement. It's about recognizing the contributions of unsung heroes who laid the foundation for GRCAM. By sharing their stories and insights, we can honor their contributions and ensure that future generations have an accurate understanding of GRCAM and dealing head on with this Willie Lynch mentality within Black society. This documentary is a testament of my commitment to building something positive for Black America and expanding it to Africa to give Black parents options where they want to raise their children. With your support, we can make, quote, Hood Liberator, Made in Chicago, The War Against Willie Lynch Begins a reality. Risks and challenges. I want to talk to you about the potential obstacles we might face while bringing, quote, Hood Liberator, Made in Chicago, The War Against Willie Lynch Begins to life. Your support means everything to us, and we believe in keeping you informed every step of the way. First and foremost, here's the risk of not meeting our funding goals. It's a possibility that we've taken into account, but with your help in spreading the word about our campaign, we're confident that we can overcome this challenge. Now, when it comes to production, documentaries can be unpredictable. We might encounter unexpected delays due to various factors like scheduling, conflict, or unforeseen issues with equipment. Please know that we're committed to staying adaptable and transparent with you throughout the process. Legal and licensing matters can be a bit of a maze. Obtaining the necessary rights and license for music, archive footage, and more can be complex. We will work closely with legal experts to minimize any complications. Post production, with its technical increments and creative decisions, may also pose challenges. We will hire a production company to have an experienced team in place to navigate this phase effectively. Distribution and marketing are key to getting our documentary out there. We are already strategizing on this front and exploring distribution options. Your continued support and word of mouth will be invaluable here. Lastly, your expectations are important to us. We promise to keep you updated regularly, share our progress, challenges, and any challenges to our timeline or scope. We welcome your questions, feedback, and ideas throughout this exciting journey. Thank you for being a part of Hood Liberator Made in Chicago, The War Against Willie Lynch Begins family. Together, we'll overcome these challenges and make this documentary a reality so that we can create future Black empowerment films. Supporters of our film project make a pledge without a reward back because you believe in it and it speaks volume to you. It's my hope that the proceeds from the film will put me in a better position financially so that I can hire the CAM members to assist me in building the best Black Christian business within the United States of America, and that is GRCI of Chicago, the Grassroots Community Activist Institute of Chicago. GRCI of Chicago will be a Black owned Christian business, and I'm going to say membership owned for active members. I'm going to work it out with my attorney that um, active GRCAM members will own 2% of the company. I'm just saying, I'm not doing this just for myself. Yes, this I'm passionate about it. Yes, if it was up to me, this business would have been up and running years ago. But hey, it is what it is. And yes, if it sounds like I'm complaining, you doggone right I am. 34 years, that's a jail sentence. And that's not cool at all. Our aim is to strengthen Black families, create economic opportunities for Black youth, Black African youth and their families, improve the low income Black community by building a safer environment for our Black children to grow. We are in a tough time because the investment cuts from the Trump administration are intentional. It's not white America's responsibility to clean up our inner cities in Chicago. The CAM members will take the lead in cleaning up our low income Black community in Chicago. It's my hope that we can make Chicago a model city and encourage other Black Americans across the United States to join our cause, help stop the genocide in American ghettos. The, the grassroots community activist movement, thank you for considering supporting our film project by purchasing my ebook and reading my story for yourself. If you agree with my vision and plan to help improve um, Black Chicago, then you will automatically become a GRCAM member. We will play, you will play a crucial role in supporting our mission to create quality Black empowerment films to help us obtain seed money for our startup Christian business in Chicago, Illinois. With your financial support, we will be able to create quality Black empowerment films and offer valuable insights for Black artists, African artists, Black entrepreneurs, and African entrepreneurs. Our aim is to equip our members and students with knowledge and resources they need to succeed in their personal life and in their business ventures. By joining our membership, you will have access to exclusive content, early preview of our films, videos, and articles, and the opportunity to engage with a community of like minded individuals who share a passion for entrepreneurship and economic development. Your support will directly contribute to the growth and impact of the Black community and the African immigrant community in Chicago. Together, we can make a difference and unlock the potentials of Black entrepreneurs and African entrepreneurs. I am passionate content creator on YouTube dedicated to telling real stories, sparking conversations, and creating content that inspire and empowers Black, Black Americans and African people worldwide. Your support means the world to me, and every coffee you buy helps me get closer to turning my film project into a reality. It's my goal through this film to reach the Black masses and the Black world in order to change lives through my work. Join us today and be a part of this exciting journey in Black America, changing lives with a new mindset. So I'm going to switch up a little bit from what I usually do when I do my presentations and things like that. Black America is facing a quote state of emergency driven by rising unemployment, the rollbacks of civil rights protections, and major political and economic shifts happening across the United States of America. Then we will look at the state of the global Black world across the diaspora. Where are we falling short, and where are the real opportunities? Most importantly, what will it take for us as Black people and African people to build real political and economic power, not just locally, but also on the African continent? Over the past year, we've seen a series of policy shifts and political decisions that have had real implication for Black America, from impacting DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion programs across federal agencies to ongoing debates and legal battles around voting rights to broader cultural and educational tensions around how Black history is taught and represented. There has been a noticeable shift in the national conversation about race, equity, and opportunity. I am encouraging my listeners nationally to please consider joining the grassroots community activist movement. Me and Sister Renee cannot do this work alone. We want to move Gurkam from behind a computer into a brick and mortar, or creating a physical building so that our members and students can have interactive space, meeting people in real life instead of a virtual space that only exists online. I'm called by my Lord and Savior, Jesus/Joshua, to build the best Black Christian business within the United States of America with the help of Gurkam members, that is, Gurkai of Chicago, the Grassroots Community Activist Institute of Chicago. Our objective is to make our presence known in the low income Black community so that we can make a real impact for Black Americans who self identify as DAS FM, descendants of American slaves/freedmen. Our focus is on strengthening Black families while becoming an economic base within the Black community. A majority of these civil rights organizations have been compromised by the white supremacist financial elites. That's why things don't get changed in our inner cities. Black America is in a state of emergency. We risk losing ground that um, our past generations fought and died for. The Black unemployment rate in the United States is creeping towards 8%. We've seen an acceleration in Black joblessness and unemployment. And that's how come I'm trying to do this type of business so I can hire, you know, Black people. This is, let me just focus on this presentation because I don't want to just be going off saying the Brown versus the Board of Education decision, which reshapes the way the Constitution was interpreted back to what it was really meant to be. The civil rights movement, which produced the Civil Rights Act, the Voting Rights Act, and the Fair Housing Act, and the War on Poverty changed the arch of Black Americans. This assault on equal opportunity was called an assault on DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion, but it was really an assault on opportunity. The fiscal plan stripped away investment in healthcare, education, community development, and housing. The, the impact of this fiscal plan, the president called it the Big Beautiful Bill. This state of emergency is predicted on facts, not just politics, on policy and how it's going to impact our community. In the United States, we're celebrating the 250th anniversary of American independence in 1776, but a significant set of progress over a period of 50 years. Now we've got this assault on voting rights. It's an assault on economic justice and a shift of resources to billionaires, shifting of resources to war. This is the state of affairs in this country and represents a state of emergency for Black Americans. The George Floyd era was an increased awareness around social justice and equity. The backlash has fed the MAGA movement, which is a movement of white supremacy, a movement of racist grievance, a movement of radical dominance. Black voters' participation was down in 2024 due to Democrats refusing to meet our demands at the Black grassroots for economic tangibles. The civil rights movement had a moral dimension to it. My vision for Black America has been a disgrace because for 34 years, I have been doing my best to connect with like minded Black Americans online and in real life, and still to this day, I have little to no support for my cause. Help stop the genocide in American ghettos, starting in Chicago. Here's some background about my virtual Christian organization, the Grassroots Community Activist Movement. First, I want to connect with like-minded Black Americans beyond Chicago. Like I say, I can't reach them here. I don't know. It is what it is. To come to Chicago, you know what I'm saying? I need boots on the ground basically. So GRCAM members that's able to travel to Chicago and work with me and getting this business up and running. But that's why I want to try to do the film, so that way I can be in a better position to pay people. Because right now I'm on a shoestring budget. I'm not making money, unfortunately. But hey, it is what it is. Black Americans who identify as descendants of American slaves slash freedmen will heal from this slave mentality imposed on our ancestor by the white supremacist financial elites. African immigrants in America who become GRCAM members will heal from the colonized mindset imposed on them by the white supremacist financial elites. The objective is um, for both groups, Black Americans and African immigrants, to learn how to work together, build business relationships, learn how to respect each other's culture, and create a Black utopia for credibility before we replicate the business in 10 African nations. I'm trying to use this new technology, the internet, and social media to help spread my vision among people on my social media pages and social media groups. I encourage my listeners to participate in our monthly interactive events in order for us to spread what we're trying to do. Um, Once my Christian business is established in Chicago, then I plan on having African immigrants in America to assist us in expanding the business to their Pacific African nation. My vision for Africa to reconnect with my ancestral homeland. It's my hope to connect with African immigrants within the United States who will work with us in building Gukai of Chicago and help get that popping for credibility. Then we will expand to 10 African nations, which are as follows: South Africa, um, Liberia, Ivory Coast, Ghana, Angola, Nigeria, Kenya, Ethiopia, Tanzania, and Uganda. We will go through the proper channels with their government to start our NGO, non government organization. We will offer employment to our members based on our budget and sponsorship. We will provide infrastructure for clean running water, agricultural technology to feed the people, offer solar energy to help our members with their electrical generators, and most of all, help improve the African economy. We want to do all those things in exchange for dual citizenship, and we want land. I'm talking about descendants of American slaves slash freedmen when we come there. We will help improve Africa in exchange for dual citizenship and land. The grassroots, just like, yeah, I'm gonna go there too. Just like, Jews, they have dual citizenship in Israel, so we want to have that same type of opportunity in Africa. That's all I'm saying. When we come there, the grassroots community activist movement is a 21st century community building approach to solving social problems within the low income Black community and building a bridge between the Black community and the African immigrant community here in Chicago. We want to promote Black economic empowerment, and we want to have two fronts: a domestic front where we focus on solving Black issues, and on an international front, when we come to Africa, solving African issues. And I prefer to be in Africa because, again, I gave Black America 34 years of my life and I'm still on first base. And like I say, that's unacceptable. So Africans, if you're really serious about me coming to your to the continent, help get my book on that bestsellers list. Encourage people from your I would say from your homeland that's here in America to work with me and Sister Renee. Work with me while I'm alive. Don't wait until I'm dead. Just saying, I'm not running for public office. I'm just trying to get the business up and running. That's all. But I want to make sure that I have competent people. I can't talk to people that's, want to sit up here and have a funky attitude with me. I'm not going to have you in my business. That's real. You better put on the front. If you step to me with a funky attitude, we strangers for life. That's how I get down. I'm just saying. I'm put up with that kind of foolishness. The purpose to recruit brave and smart Black Americans and African immigrants within the United States of America. And I'm just going to say this again. I believe I said this before, but I'm called by my Lord and Savior Jesus / Yahshua to rebuild our inner city in America, starting in Chicago, and that's it, just Chicago. You know what I'm saying? Because at this point in the game, I don't want to waste any more time. Because it was my hope, and I even wrote this in the book, that the business would be up and running in at least 25 cities. And my God, 34 years and it's still not up and running here in Chicago. Okay, so my division is similar to that of Nehemiah, who was called by God to rebuild the walls of Jerusalem. Nehemiah used qualified engineers, architects, and inventors to rebuild a new city. The people that we are seeking, let me rephrase that, the people that I am seeking on my advisory board or resource team are qualified Black middle-class professionals with a 2-year degree or above, Black attorneys, African attorneys, investors, Black entrepreneurs, African entrepreneurs, social entrepreneurs, and philanthropists. In contrast, we're looking for people to join our film project, such as legitimate Black filmmakers, legitimate African filmmakers, directors, producers, actors, stage managers, professional fundraisers, technical directors, and marketers who can come to Chicago once we raise the funds for this film project, ladies and gentlemen. Now here's our history. I created GRCAM in 1991 on a site called Gopher to help raise awareness about the genocide taking place within our inner cities in America in order to connect with other like-minded, I would say Black Americans, African immigrants, Afro Latinos, and Afro Caribbeans. So that's what I used to do, ladies and gentlemen. Urban violence is a moral issue, just like American slavery and lynching was. Mega corporations want to control the internet and silence inspired voices like mine. So that's how come I'm saying, for us to create our own website and eventually our apps and all that kind of stuff. But I got to get my quote unquote team in place first before we can gotta generate capital, bottom line. GRCAM is a body of believers committed to the cause of Christ and willing to serve in this day and age. We believe and support the concept of family as described in my revised book, which is the foundation of my Christian business. The family comments with marriage, and that marriage is defined by God as un, um, the uniting, sorry, the uniting of one man with one woman. My revised book is just the beginning. What I want to be remembered for is trying to build something constructive in the Black community instead of complaining about the white man and politicians and the government. Once we get this film project fully funded and made, and the proceeds start pouring in, then I will be in a better position financially to purchase property in Chicago, Illinois, hire qualified Black middle class professionals and qualified African immigrants to assist me in building the Grassroots Community Activist Institute of Chicago. So, Gakai of Chicago will offer an interactive space for Black Americans, African immigrants, Afro Brazilians, Afro Latinos, Afro Caribbeans, um, all Christian denominations, Black millennials, and Generation Z. Non Black sympathizers are welcome to join us, not as groups, but as individuals. But we want to know where they're going to have to stand up in front of all of us doing mandatory orientation and tell us where do they stand as it pertains to lineage-based cash payment reparations for descendants of American slaves, either yay or nay. That's all I want to hear. I want to hear no long-winded things. And if they agree, they're going to have to pay a reparations fee. Because again, I don't operate like the next Black man. I have my own style. I ain't with all that shucking and jiving. I'm on business. And that's real. Gakai of Chicago will provide quality programs and services to benefit the Black community and the African immigrant community. Our mission is to help eradicate urban violence in Chicago through art, culture, commerce, spiritual development, and hosting African and Caribbean tours. We will promote economic opportunities in the African American community and the African immigrant community by being an advocate and also becoming an economic base. We will offer different membership level, um, basic membership, networking membership, and entrepreneur membership. Gakai Chicago will be a multi-purpose facility consisting of a nonprofit sector and also a for-profit sector, operating under 9 functions. They are as follows: a social service component, a spiritual component, which is going to be optional for secular people, a political component, an entertainment component, an entrepreneur component, a health and wellness component, a Black grassroots media component, science and technology component, travel and tourism component. Under the for-profit service business sector, this will be known as a red zone. We will offer state-of-the-art recreational center, which will have bowling, high rope adventures, captivating game rooms featuring the latest video and amusement, stylish billboards, energetic dance rooms, and quality restaurants, various businesses, on-site childcare, and on-site music recording studio for our members and students making documentary films and stage plays. In addition, we will host family-friendly activities, including combination deals, birthday parties, weddings, and corporate parties and events. We will practice group economics in real time by pulling our resources together in order to create and control our own community healthcare center, community grocery store, and community housing. Because everyone needs food, healthcare, and shelter. And those are jobs right there for CAM members. I'm just saying, ladies and gentlemen. But yet, here it is, 34 years, and I'm still don't have this thing up and running. This will be, and this is why I want to be in South Africa, because I want to work with those Africans that were looking for jobs. You know what I'm saying? That work with a brother. Not sitting up here taking me for a joke. I mean, I don't know what's a joke. I ain't on here playing no games. This will be group economics in action. We will offer rental space for our members who have businesses. Under the nonprofit corp or cooperative, that would be known as the Green Zone. Gurkai of Chicago will be governed by an advisory board. Gurkai of Chicago will be membership based. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Can't help our own black people. Know what I'm saying? We're going to raise that bar, like I said. Separate ourselves from con artists, hardened criminals, pedophiles, degenerates, off code Negroes, um, black boule, Democrat shields, urban terrorists. Just saying. Um, um, so it's going to be membership based and operate for the mutual benefit of our members. Also, any earnings we make are returned to our members in the form of lower prices through our quality programs and services. We will assist our members with their utility bills pending on our budget and sponsorship. We will offer light groceries through our food pantry and tutorial service for Black youth, African youth, and their families. The County of Chicago will help benefit Africa because we will form an alliance with African immigrants here in the United States of America, specifically in Chicago. In each African nation we will match Black entrepreneurs with African entrepreneurs, Black artists with African artists, so that we can do international trade among our people. This will also We also plan on setting up local chapters in each African nation we visit. Our objective is to unite middle class, working class, and underclass Blacks with the diaspora and vice versa. Now, since Trump has put on these tariffs and all that good stuff, that's going to make it extremely hard. And again, ladies and gentlemen, Black America had 34 years to embrace my vision and plan. 34 years. So what's going to happen now? The children is going to end up having to suffer. That's unfortunate. And like I said, God give us free will. That's all I can say. You know, it is what it is. I just wish that my creator would connect me with the right people that have the means and that's competent. Shoot, because the people that I keep running across, they have like anger issues or they're paranoid. They think everything is a scam. I'm like, my goodness, selling the book is not a scam. Read my story. So that way you'll know what you're getting yourself involved with. And I'm not going to keep trying to explain myself. That's why I wrote the book, so that way I don't have to keep explaining who I am. You know what I'm saying? All right, ladies and gentlemen, let me try to speed some of this stuff up. Yes, it'd be long-winded, but hey, I'm trying to obtain that $250,000. You know what I'm saying? Ain't no scam over here. This is all real and authentic. Now, my African plan. Africa has 1.5 billion on the continent. In Black America, we have 400 million. I am sorry. So if I'm able to get descendants of American slaves / freemen to come with me to South Africa, so that way we could create Gurkai of Africa. In exchange for our talents and skills, we want dual citizenship, just like Jewish people have with Israel, as well as land. Black Americans as a collective have $2 trillion in economic power. We will build an economic relationship that is airtight with each African nation, bring in our networks to help Africa rise to its full potential. And if we were really aligned more strategically, what kind of power could we actually um, wield on the global stage? As long as my vision and plan is overlooked by Black Americans, then we are missing the opportunity to be part of Africa's rising. China, India, and other nations are buying up land in Africa left and right. Gurkai of Africa want to make an impact in South Africa first for credibility, just like we want to get it popping here in Chicago first for credibility before I even come to Africa. Because when I come to Africa, I don't want to come empty handed. I want to bring economic tangibles in the form of job creation for GRCAM members. Ladies and gentlemen, Black America has made significant progress in America, but the low income Black community continues to suffer. And that's why I want to bring my business there. Some people say, Emmanuel, there's no opportunities in the Black or in the low income Black community. And I say, I beg to differ. Reason why is because look at the Asian businesses, look at the Arab businesses. They're in the inner cities. You know what I'm saying? They know that it's money there. And that's who I want to serve. That's where I came from. I want to teach um, my people, or let me just say, GRCAM members, about becoming home, owning homes, so home ownership, education, and a decent paying job, so that way they can feed their families. And I want to provide all that stuff through this business. Again, I lack two things. I lack the capital and the manpower, and that's why I wrote my book. That's why I created my virtual store. Yet my vision and plan has been overlooked by Black Americans, specifically Black Chicagoans, for the past 34 years. It's sickening. I don't like it, but doggone it, I'm going to do my best to get my message out there. I'm beating that drum loud and clear. Okay, so in Gurkai of Chicago and in Gurkai of Africa, I want us as Black people and African people to understand our common bond. Our common bond is not just our race and culture, it's also the conditions and subjugation and oppression by the same people, the Europeans. These people forever been bugging. Forever. Now, if they don't want to pay reparations, no problem. We don't want to do business with you. And then that's why I want to bring it to the continent so we can reclaim our continent. I'm not going to fight and die. I don't want to die in America. I want to die in Africa, and I want to help my people reclaim their land back from those former colonizers. We had the civil rights movement, the Black Power movement, Black people and African people throughout. There's no more thought that there was no more colonial government. Apartheid had ended, so we thought. Yet global white supremacy still is running things. We have to check they behind point blank. That's how it is. Check them. They'll call them out and say, hey, look, doggone it, we didn't ask you to come to our continent. You had your time. Your time is up. We know what you did. You don't want to pay your dues, what you owe. We ain't doing business. We ain't fooling with you. Black people and African people have to heal first, because we're not in a position at this stage in the game to fight against white supremacy. We need to heal from the slave mentality, and African immigrants need to heal from that colonized mindset before we can take on white supremacy head on. I'm just saying. the economic exploitation of the continent, taking raw materials and exporting them, um, cocoa, gold, and diamonds, etc. The white supremacist financial elites understood that free labor in cotton, free labor in sugar canes, free labor in tobacco, which was done by enslaved Africans, were producing enormous wealth for white people. That's how they got rich, ladies and gentlemen. And they got a nerve to say, well, that happened a long time ago when it was legal. Well, you guys still control the law, so you still held accountable. I don't want to hear that. Yet they claim it was legal during that time when they were the ones who created the laws back then, and now still control those same laws. And they still obtaining generational wealth, while we as a collective are living below our means. That's not right. And we as descendants of American slaves slash freedmen are going to raise hell about that and stay on their bumper for our reparations. These white people made enormous wealth over centuries, which is still being enjoyed by their descendants today. Reparation means repairing systems that have produced inequality in the United States of America, the financial system, the housing system, and the educational system. I'm disappointed in our own government and the other two governments that did not support the resolution in the UN. When you consider the fact that the HR 40 bill to study reparation has been sitting in Congress for 3 decades. If you study the Bible, God told many people to go themselves up and go take the land, get yourself up, go battle Goliath. God told many people to get up and fight. He didn't just do everything for people. God expects you to do your part. If you are just sitting around waiting on God, He is waiting on you. I mean, He died on the cross already. He gave us power and stuff. What's the point of having power if you ain't gonna use it? Uh, like I say, I'm just like he giving me an opportunity to vent, recruit people. So that's all I can do, doing the best that I can within my power. But Lord knows, He blessed me with the capital His own. The Bible expects you to get yourself up and do something. Faith without works is dead. Today generation um, Xers like myself, um, they have ruined their children. We grew up during the crack epidemic, the three strike laws, the 1994 crime bill, a lot of struggles, gang violence. Our children don't have the skills to handle life issues. In Gurkha, Chicago, we would teach the next generation how to fight politically and challenge the the national action networks. If Black Americans is not willing to do different things, then you can't disrupt the system. Yes, you can show up and go in on people, but at the end of the day, what are young Black youth doing to counter the National Action Network? I have a nonprofit called the Grassroots Community Activist Institute of Chicago to help Black youth and their families, but I lack manpower and the capital. This is again why I wrote my story. You know, yet for 16 years, I'm still unable to get Black Chicagoans to join me. We're nonpartisan, we're independent, and we're not affiliated with anyone. Again, this is why I created this platform. I'm trying to turn my revised book into a docudrama in order to reach the Black masses and the Black world. For 16 years, I have been paying out of pocket for my business title and still don't have anyone on my advisory board or resource team, ladies and gentlemen. It's just me and Sister Renee. This is unacceptable, ladies and gentlemen. Black America has two choices: either embrace annihilation or embrace survival. I'm only responsible for GCAM members. And again, I long to be in South Africa to help Black South Africans that want more out of life. I feel like I am just wasting money. I'm at this point in time. Without financial support from the Black grassroots and the global African family, then I am unable to do my God given assignment. I'm proud of Brother Julius Malema. He created an independent political party, the EFF, the Economic Freedom Fighters, for his people. He's not just there, just talking. He has people working with him. Malema is involved with politics, and he is also helping his people in their African community, which is the way we should be doing things. Speaking out against white supremacy while pushing reparations and an anti Black hate crime bill. The Black grassroots have to get in local and state government if you are serious about making an impact in Black America. It is easier to win local elections than national elections. We have to stop looking up to these Black politicians who are D1, meaning Democrat first, and start selecting our own representative from the Black grassroots who are M1, meaning melanated first, for those positions such as the school boards, city council, mayor, sheriff, DA, judges. We got to get DAS FM in those positions. But if all we're going to do is just talk about these issues online and show up in a few public meetings screaming and yelling, outside of that, what is descendants of American slaves slash freemen doing to create um hold on, lineage policies? We have to get laws on the books to protect our people. Our local governments affect us a whole lot more than the presidential elections. If you're not going to put skin in the game to get laws changed, ordinance, where we got our Black lawyers profiling on Instagrams and TikTok, where's our Black lawyers filing lawsuits like Edward Bloom? He filed lawsuits all the time trying to strip Black Americans from what our ancestors fought and died for. Where where's the Black version of Edward Bloom? We have a lot of Black lawyers talking about how successful they are. Where are you? We don't Why don't you do the same thing? I am a Black American, descendant of American slaves slash freedmen. Nobody can take that lineage away from me. When it comes to the diaspora, if you are rocking with Black America, then I can work with you because you're in alignment. I will work with Black people and African people globally who are aligned about what we are trying to do. I am selective though. I do not link up with just anybody just because they're Black. Because urban terrorists, they're Black too. There are FBAs that I don't fool around with because of their character and lifestyle. Now, like I say, I really don't really want people, that want to use that term in my business because that's under Tariq Nasheed's camp. I like the brother and all that stuff, but hey, I mean, I tried to reach out to him and he never returned my emails. So I take that as, hey, you don't want to fool with me, so I ain't gonna fool with him. That's just how I get down. If you don't return my messages, then I don't fool with you. It has nothing to do with us having the same lineage, but are certain people I don't want to associate with. I'm just saying. Black Americans have allowed these Black politicians to come around us every 2 years to beg us for our vote without demanding economic tangibles. Today, Black Americans are starting to demand economic tangibles, and so I like that. They're surprised that Black people are demanding something for their vote because for years, as a collective, we've been doing, we just been giving away our votes. They just show up at church, at local events, do a fish fry, and go about their merry way. What are you what are you doing specifically for Black people? Like I mentioned in my revised book, Black Americans cannot continue business as usual because another decade or so, then we as a collective won't be able to survive in America. We have to deal with this slave mentality head on and put an end to it, as well as separate ourselves from the enemy within. These current Black politicians are in the pockets of the white supremacist financial elites. They are D1, meaning Democrat first. They only care about their immediate family members and making money. I'm telling the white liberals to stop wasting your money on Democrat shields and Black boule because they cannot deliver the Black vote any longer. The Black grassroots are waking up Black Americans. We are not going to vote blue no matter who. Those days are done. Notice these Black Democrats who are against reparations. Remember what happened in California. Who blocked the reparations bill from coming to the floor? Black Democrats did that. Remember the Coronavirus Aid, Relief, and Economic Security, which stands for CARES Act, is a $2.2 trillion economic stimulus package signed into law on March 27, 2020, to provide fast, direct financial aid to individual families and business heavily impacted by the COVID 19 pandemic. It aims to preserve jobs, expand unemployment benefits, and fund healthcare initiatives. American politicians signed $2.2 trillion into the economy with no study. Why don't they make reparation the same amount as the CARE Act? If America can afford funding endless wars, they can definitely afford reparations. If American politicians cut some of their military budgets, that alone could end homelessness in America. As descendants of American slaves slash freedmen, we got to hold the line. That keeps politicians has to know we're not playing with them anymore. They're going to have to bring something to the table like reparations and an anti-black hate crime bill in order to get our vote. If they're not willing to do that, then we're not going to vote for them. The Asians receive an anti-Asian hate crime bill along with a bag. They didn't need a study. Keep that in mind during the midterm elections, ladies and gentlemen. The Democrat Shield's job is to deliver the Black vote. We have to work hard to put them out of business for good. Putting them out of business is by preventing them from getting Black voters. This means we have to show up at their speaking engagements. That's how you defeat them. I ran across a video on TikTok entitled, quote, Black Alpha pull up at a Kamala Harris event. No check, no vote, unquote. To watch the video clip, just go to my Medium transcript located in the comment section below this audio podcast. Click on the link, then scroll down to show and prove. Brother Black Alpha attended a Kamala Harris event. He stood up and spoke about reparations and explained to Kamala Harris, we need our reparation if they want our vote. Black Americans have been voting for Democrats faithfully for 60 years. If you have watched the video, notice the crowd, how Black Democrats were trying to shut him down. That's our biggest obstacle to reparation. What was wrong with what he said? If you are a descendant of American slaves slash freedmen, then a debt is owed to you. He's saying that Black Americans, FBA, is not going to vote for Democrats unless they give us our tangibles. our lineage-based cash payment reparations. If you're not if you're not willing to do that, then we're not going to vote for you. In other words, what he was saying is that you're not going to use our lineage, our story to funnel resources to other groups in this country any longer. Kamala Harris should have taken the opportunity to address him and said what she would do specifically for Black Americans if she was president. I believe that the Democrats need to lose several elections in order to get the point. We're not voting for symbolism anymore. We're not going to continue voting for y'all so that you can funnel resources to other groups while practicing benign neglect policies on us while we get nothing for our families. We have our own children and families to feed. We need resources too. All these other groups that come to this country and get resources through the Democrat Party. I heard about Nick Shirley, the guy who exposed daycare fraud in Minnesota within the Somali community. He traveled to California, another Democrat stronghold. He's been exposing some scams out there. Family, do y'all know that the Democrats are trying to pass laws to criminalize anyone who's doing an investigation about scams? Shucks, that sounds shady right there. They want to hit you with fines and possible jail time for freedom of the press. That's going to get shot down real quick because we have freedom of the press in this country. You cannot block the press because he's doing an investigative journalism on the scams in California. It sounds like they are making money from those scams. This is why they want to come up with a law to stop him. You make yourself look guilty, Democrats. They don't want their scams exposed, and you don't want to pay reparations neither. Remember, that's the same state that denied Black Americans reparations. I stand with Black Alpha and what he said. He did not lie about anything. You put Black people down for asking questions, reparations or no vote. This is a new day. We're not the civil rights generation. Our tangibles is lineage based cash payment reparation for descendants of American slaves slash freedmen. It's just that simple. Before I end my presentation, I want to come back to Julius Malema, founder of the EFF, Economic Freedom Fighters. He is the most feared opposition politician on the African continent. Western powers have spent over a decade trying to contain him, and why everything right now is coming to a head. From an outsider looking in, you would think this story was about a Black South African man who fired a rifle at a rally back in 2018. The real reason this man draws a level of legal, political, and international pressure that few opposition politicians in the world have to face is something Western capitalists have been trying to crush for over a decade. Julius Malema was once the rising star of the ANC, African National Congress, the ruling party of the South Africa. He led the ANC Youth League, and which made him one of the most recognized political figures in South Africa before the age of 30. In 2012, the ANC expelled him not because he was corrupt, but because he was in, or not because he was incompetent, but because he pushed African issues to the forefront. He pushed for the nationalization of South Africa's mining industry and for land export expropriation without compensation. The ANC was not ready for that conversation. In 2013, he founded the EFF, Economic Freedom Fighters, and took his message directly to the people of South Africa. His core political message was built on three pillars that, if ever implemented, it will fundamentally restructure the flow of wealth out of the control of the white supremacist financial elites. Pillar one, the export expropriation of land without compensation. South Africa, 30 years after the end of apartheid, still remains one of the most unequal countries on earth, with the vast majority of productive agricultural land still in the hands of a white minority that represents only 7% of the population. Pillar number two, Julius Malema is building his movement on the national nationalization of mines in South Africa, which has some of the largest reserve of platinum, gold, magnesium, and other rare earth minerals on the planet. These natural resources are overwhelmingly controlled by multinational mining companies located in places like London and New York. Malema wants the state to take control, not a symbolic seat at the table. Pillar number three, he is pushing for the nationalization of the South African Reserve Bank. Malema Party introduced a bill to bring the central bank under full public ownership, arguing that as long as the central bank remains in the private hands of the white supremacist financial elites, it is only serve them, not the average black native South African. This is why Western interest groups want him silenced, because they are the reason why everything is happening socially and politically in South Africa. The people who benefit from the current system in place, which is the economic power. They have invested years of legal, political, and international pressure into keeping Julius Malema silent or contained. As I stated in my last audio podcast entitled, quote, Julius Malema sentenced to 5 years in prison, unquote. Afroforum is a civil rights organization, a private lobby lobbyist group that runs its own prosecution unit. Campaign in South Africa, they focus on the rights of Afrikaners and has spent a decade cultivating relationship with the most powerful governments on earth. This is the same organization that led charges against Julius Malema over his 2018 rally incident. The state prosecutor did not initiate the case, and when the conviction came true, they publicly celebrated. But this is where the story crosses the border from domestic law into something more alarming, because this same organization had a documented lobbying pipeline direct link to the United States of America. Its leaders traveled to Washington multiple times. They have requested the Trump administration to intensify pressure on South Africa, and they have been at the center of an international campaign that is claiming a so-called white genocide in South Africa. This narrative has been debunked repeatedly by South Africa's own crime statistics, by independent researchers, and by journalists. It had already reached the ears of the people who matter in Washington, and it had already done its damage. So in February 2025, Donald Trump, the president of the United States, signed an executive order cutting financial aid to South Africa. He also launched a refuge program for white Afrikaners. He publicly accused the South African government of allowing a genocide to take place. The same narrative this body group had been exporting for years have become America's foreign policy. And then came the moment that turned Julius Malema from a domestic South African politician into a continental symbol of defiance. That moment, Western capitalists decided this man was no longer just a domestic South African problem. He has become a continental problem and needs to be solved one way or another. He called for a borderless Africa. He said the borders that divide African nations were drawn by colonial masters with a pen, but The new generation must erase them. South Africa itself is tearing that solidarity apart from the inside. This week, an anti-immigrant group called the March and Match movement, they launched what they were calling a cleaning up campaign in Durban, South Africa. And what that clean up looked like was mobs of South Africans beating foreigners in the street and looting their shops while police stood by watching. A lot of videos already flooding social media showing black Africans being hunted, dragged, and assaulted in broad daylight. This is what the white supremacist financial elites want to happen to keep the focus off of them while they continue to hold the economic power in South Africa. Meanwhile, Operation Dula is a vigilante movement that has been terrorizing other black Africans, blocking migrants and their children from ac- accessing public clinics and schools in Johannesburg, despite court order banning them from doing so. Xenophobic attacks in South Africa result in at least 669 deaths, over 500,000 looted shops, and more than 127,000 displaced. The target of these xenophobic attacks are Black Africans, such as Nigerians, Zimbabweans, Mozambicans, and Somalians. Xenophobic is a sickness born of poverty, inequality, and government failure. Other Africans are not the cause of South Africa's unemployment crisis. The cause lies in the unchanged economy that remains in the hands of the white minority and multinational corporations. The economic extraction across the continent. I stand with Julius Malema and the end of neo-colonial extrication of African soil must end now. We did not invite these people to our continent. They imposed themselves on us. We do not want to be Europeans. We're Black Africans and proud of our culture and our ancestors. The battle for Africa, if we lose Africa, we lose everything. What Julius Malema said last week outside of the courtroom, he said a hidden hand of imperialism and capital is being behind the legal attempt to silence him. He accused the magistrate of being a racist and said she was possibly a member of AfroForum. He said the sentencing was politically motivated and it was meant to defeat the EFF through legal means rather than at the ballot box. And when the Judicial Accountability Organization demand he apologize, he said they will get that apology in hell. This guy is something else, and I have nothing but love for him. I really respect this guy. Donald Trump publicly demand Julius Malema be arrested less than a year before his sentencing. For me, the fact that a private lobbyist group in South Africa with direct ties to the White House was driven a 7-year prosecution against Julius Malema is the reason why Donald Trump demanded his arrest from inside the Oval Office. And that same leader is right now being sentenced to 5 years in prison. Julius Malema has become a continental symbol and imperialist politics. Black people and African people worldwide are calling for reparations from Western nations and African economic sovereignty. Africa needs to decide if they will continue working with Western nations who owe them reparations for colonization, but they refuse to pay or turn to other nations to do business with them. This is the real issue at hand. We see what's happened last month at the UN. I would like to hear from the panel, and if not, then I will open up the discussion for Q&A in the chat room. I try to break down these complex geopolitical matters in layman terms on this platform. Support us by purchasing my ebook, buying items from my virtual store, and or donating to our film project. You can find the links to everything in the comments section below this audio podcast. Please don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube page. Make sure to hit that ring notification bell so that you can know when we upload a new episode. Also, leave a public comment about the topics in the comment section below this audio podcast. Let us know where you are listening to us from. All right. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I want to just go through a couple things to show you how to navigate. Uh, just a moment. All right. So again, everyone that's watching the screen, and this is my cursor, please register or please follow me on my Medium page. So that's manuelonline.medium.com right here. See where I have the cursor. So right there. I would appreciate that. Then you click right here where it says transcript. And so that's all that stuff I pretty much went over. But what I want to do, I want to go all the way down so you can just see a few. I cite my sources, so I come with receipts. So I want to show you a couple things that stood out for me. And then I would say on Saturday at 2 o'clock p.m. American Central Time, that's when we're going to do side B. So that way, if I have, my panelists, if they want to talk about the different stuff that I went over, that's cool. If nobody shows up, then it's going to be open for Q&A for my audience. If you want to ask me specific questions, get on camera and let's make that happen. So right here, this is about the brother Black Alpha from TikTok. So click on there. If you want to, I'm not going to do that because even if I did, it's not going to play for some reason. So, I just have to maneuver. So that's how come I'm showing you this way. I recommend you look at all this stuff. This is unfortunately about the two teenage black youth, a male and a female. The male, he ended up losing his life because some low down, urban terrorists just drove up. They're waiting at a bus stop after school. They came out of high school waiting on the bus to go home, and urban terrorists just drove up and just started shooting. Shot the brother, several times, and he ended up losing his life. The girl, I believe she got shot in the leg. Either way it goes, this happens every week in our inner cities. But guess what? No protection for those kids. And again, this is what I've been trying to get my business out for, to try to make changes in the community and things like that. But my book is barely selling. So basically, Black Chicagoans giving me the middle finger. You know what I'm saying? That's horrible. But yet, this is my God-given assignment. I didn't ask for it. But Lord knows I want to get it started here so that way I can leave Chicago alone and bring my business over to the African continent. But I have to get the business popping here in America first for credibility. So that way people know my story and I don't have to sit up here. Definitely don't want to be going through this kind of foolishness when I come to Africa because I want to create jobs. do the business. That's why it's a business. All right. So um, I would like for all of my all Black Americans that's real, check this out. This is proof why we deserve our reparations, because this brother, he exposes every U.S. president ties to slavery. So yeah, the the founding forefathers, they all had slaves, and that's what put the U.S. government on the hook. Even though they can lie and say, "Hey, that happened a long time ago," blah blah blah. It's still from the same government. You know what I'm saying? We still follow the laws of the Constitution that they written. So you owe reparations to descendants of American slaves and or of those that call themselves FBA, because they still part of our lineage. All right. So look at all this stuff. But right here, when I talk about my main sources, and again, Black women, the 92%, they helped raise that money for Kamala Harris. $1 million, 44,000 within 3 hours. See that? Click on that so that way you can read the article. I'm just saying. Right here it tells about, as a collective, Black Americans, we have $2 trillion. But that wealth is gonna go down because according to this right here, this is what I'm fighting for. I'm trying to get Black people to help me get this film project fully funded. So that way I can hire people. But here it is right here, The Guardian. And it's saying median wealth of Black Americans will fall to zero by 2053. That's why they don't want to give us our reparations, because they want to see us at the bottom, a collective. Just slow down. But like I say, I mean, once we get this business popping, I'm coming to South Africa and do my best to help our people. That's all. Right here, this is the Black women, the 92%, and Black men 77. But anyway, both groups, Black women and Black men, y'all need y'all to use y'all energy over here. Help me get this thing up and running. Then I can help hire some of our unemployed Black people. This is to help Black people, to hire Black people. I can't do it if I ain't making money from my book sale. That's why I'm trying to do a doggone film. Because a lot of Black people don't like to read. It is what it is. Benign and neglect. Check that out, ladies and gentlemen. All this stuff. All of it. And most of all, right here where it says my credibility, all of this. This is my book right here that you get. Appreciate it. Or GoFundMe, PayPal, buy me a coffee, and the actual virtual store right here, ladies and gentlemen. Just showing you. And for those of you that's on the continent, my African brothers and sisters, please just listen or subscribe to me over here on Podchaser, because theirs is just audio. They don't do video, and so it won't eat away at your bundles. Okay, that's what I recommend. All right. So most of all, I'm asking all of my listeners that still with me, please subscribe to my YouTube page right here. Help it grow. My goal is to at least I would like to have 500,000, but I say 1,500, I'll take that too, that'll work. But bottom line, please help subscribe to my YouTube page, and that'd be a big help. So that way I can make some moves, you know. That's all I'm saying. Thank you all for listening. And see you on Saturday. If you're serious. Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, and that's going to conclude our show for today.